How's it going, everyone? And listen, let's talk about Edu. Edu. What were you thinking? Now, listen, what I'm going to try and do is be fair to the guy, okay? I'm not going to have any cheap shots. I'm not going to kick him when he's down almost. I am really going to try and be fair to him, right? So we're talking about his interview that he did with Sky Sports. And first thing, before we even get into the detail of the interview, right? The first thing I want to ask you, and let me know in the comments, right? When a technical director or any kind of club staff decide to go out there in front of the world's media, especially when you're bottom of the league, especially when like you're struggling as much as you are, for you, what do you think the plan was? What was the objective of Edu trying to do this interview? What was he looking to get out of it? Clearly, Edu's not going on to try and basically get pelters. He's not trying to go out there and make a fool out of himself or to annoy people or to divide the fan base. So that's the first question that I was asking of myself when I thought when I saw that he had gone out and done this, and I thought to myself, right, what's he trying to achieve with this? And that was before me reading the interview or listening to anything. That was me just thinking, what is he trying to achieve? Now, I want to know from you guys, what do you think? So let's see, transparency, sympathy, to save his own skin. No, I don't. I personally think if you're going to go and do this in front of the world's media, you're not saving your own skin. You're putting yourself out there more. You're going to get more criticism. You're really exposing yourself a little bit, because what can you really say that won't get you criticism when you're the technical director of one of the biggest clubs in the country, in the world, and you are bottom of the league, haven't scored a league goal, haven't got any points? To me, you don't do that to save your skin, to give excuses. Yeah, but come on, I'm trying to be really realistic here. He's not going to... He would have had a reason. So what do you think Arteta's reasons are? All right, yeah, manipulation. Maybe that's one of them. Maybe that is one of them. More time. Yeah, I agree with all of that. Look, for me, when I was looking at this, I thought to myself, if I was in his shoes, firstly, I wouldn't have done the interview probably, because it's very difficult, and I think results speak for a lot more. But I personally think this is what he was trying to do. He's looked at the fixture list. He's seen that we've just had two very difficult games, and he's looking at Norwich and looking at Burnley. From my point of view, he would not do this interview if he did not think that the next game after his interview is going to be a positive experience for Arsenal fans. I think so much of what he has banked on is a positive result in the next game. That's the first thing. The second thing is that his objectives would be, in my opinion, for more unity within the fan base. Because, look, if he can appease people, if he can just get people on side a little bit, it takes the pressure off slightly. It kind of removes us from that sort of like crisis boiling point that we're in. Now, I'm not saying he achieved that by any stretch. I'm just trying to think of what he's thinking, right? So a bit of unity. And the third thing that I would have thought that he would like to try and achieve is what you guys have already mentioned, and that is a little bit of time. Now, I don't think Edu has gone and done this without the sort of, not permission, but the buy-in of Arteta, without the buy-in of Edu as well, of Kroenke as well. So for me, he's obviously spoken to them, and they would have been unified in what I think are these three objectives. So let's just recap them. More time, more unity, and also just relieving a bit of that pressure. Let me just read the super chat before we carry on. I'll always try and make sure I get every single super chat. Someone told me I missed one the other day. I'm sure I absolutely didn't. I'll always make sure I try and get them in. So OG Slim, thanks a lot for the super chat. All Edu and Arteta are doing is blagging some more time in a job. The board have obviously bought it, and we are expected to as well. We are done. Well, do you know what the thing is? Yeah. In terms of more time, I agree. I think that is exactly what was one of their objectives out of this interview. But moving away from what they were trying to do, right, from a technical director point of view, from a staff point of view, from my point of view as a fan, when I'm seeing this interview, what do I want to get out of it as a fan? So that almost might be an easier question to answer, right? Because It's hard to put ourselves in that technical director sort of space, but we're all fans here. So what do I think I want to see as a fan when my technical director comes out, when my team's bottom of the league? I want to see accountability. I want to see him be accountable and invite that accountability and basically have that bravery and courage to do so. I want to see him give us specific targets in terms of what he's going to achieve this year. I don't want like cowardice, and I don't want him papering over sort of or just kind of glossing over things. I want to be able to hold him to account on certain things. And the third thing I want as a fan is sort of I want to see or hear something that I can't deduce myself from the information that's already out there. Now, did he give us anything new? Was there any new information? I don't think so. Well, we can get into the detail, but every single thing that Edu said for me was abundantly obvious. He did not give me anything that gives me a clue as to what's going on behind the scenes. He didn't give me anything that made me sit there and think, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a good point. Or yeah, I understand what they're doing and it wasn't very obvious. Nothing like that was offered to me. Also, he offered me no sort of method to hold him accountable. The thing, and I don't want this to be a really, really long one, right? I want this to be quick, get a couple of comments and move on, because other people have done their reactions to this. And I kind of feel like it's very, very easy for us as fans to go through the transcript and to beat him up on every single point. I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to be a bit more analytical in this and ask what he was trying to get out of it, what I wanted to get out of it. And ultimately then what I want to do is give him a little bit of credit for doing it in the first place, because it's definitely easier not to. And then also let you know what I think of what he's actually achieved. So yeah, I wanted him to be able to allow us to hold him to account on something where it's easy when it comes to strikers. Let's say, for example, Aubameyang. We can complain about Aubameyang that he's not at the levels that he was at in recent years. And we can say a benchmark for you where we can determine whether you've done your job or not done your job is, let's say, 25 goals, or you might say goal involvement, so goals and assists, whatever. But each one of us might have a number. I might say this year we're not in Europe, for example, so I'll say it would be less than 30 goals. I would say 25 goals across the season. We might say for Ødegaard or Emil Smith-Rowe, a certain number of assists or a certain number of chances created. Yeah, as a manager, we might say to Arteta, top 6. That's what we expect. We were 8th last season. We want to see some progression to top 6. What Edu did by refusing to be brave enough to talk about top 4, top 6, top 8, even top 10. When I read that, or when I listened up, I thought, my God, when are you going to stop? Are you going to go to top 12, top 14, top 16? Please tell us you think we're at least going to finish 17th. At least hold us to that. Because when he went down that list and he basically refused to allow us to hold him accountable to anything, to me, that spoke of cowardice. That spoke of him not wanting to be held to any account whatsoever. And that really, really frustrated me, because it showed to me a complete lack of belief in terms of what this team can achieve this year. And then as we go on into the interview, what he speaks about in terms of what he wants to see, so not top 4, top 6, top 8, top 10, what he wants to see is the whole team playing together. And at some point in the interview, he spoke about judging the team when everyone's playing together. He's basically saying, judge me or judge the team, judge the club when we have perfect, all the perfect elements lined up for success. Or basically, we've got no excuse not to succeed. Football does not work like that. By the time Gabriel and Ben White are back, by the time Thomas Partey is back, we're going to have, let's say, Tierney injured. We're going to have Aubameyang injured. We're going to have someone else injured. We're going to have Emil Smith-Rowe out or something. You know, I think he's being like very intentionally misleading there by not really allowing himself to be held to account. And for me, that speaks of cowardice, and it doesn't fill me with any confidence. I found that very, very annoying. you, and I always say this about the technical director, director of football, those sorts of jobs, you are sort of like in a hidden role where it's hard for fans like me to turn around and say, you failed on this. We have to try and appraise their jobs in a much different way. Whereas I've said, even with like a CEO, we can look at the commercials. Obviously now we can't because we don't get access to the accounts. But with Ivan Gazidis previously, you could say, this is what our commercial revenue is. Why haven't you increased this? We could do that. With players, with managers, we can say this many goals, this many assists, this many clean sheets, this many saves, this many, the statistics around players are endless. With managers, it's league position, for example. We can talk about the impact of their substitutions. There's so many things. But when it comes to these more hidden roles, they have to be willing to be held to account. And he showed zero willingness. That annoys me. He should have at least come out and said, we at the very least expect to see progress this year. He didn't even say that. He didn't even have the courage to say, we'll finish above 8th. To me, that is unacceptable. It really is unacceptable. So that's one thing that really bothered me. And the other thing that bothered me as well, I'm going to read this quote. He said, now let's put it into context. For example, in the midfield, you have Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey. So for me and for Mikel, it doesn't make sense to sign another player to be on top of them if they are the ones that are going to be playing. So to me, he's saying it doesn't make any sense to sign a player to be on top of Granit Xhaka. To me, that is worrying. Granit Xhaka could be a fantastic player in Italy, in my opinion. I thought he was brilliant in the Euros, and a lot of people have made the point that if we saw Xhaka in the Euros, we'd be clamoring to sign him. And I agree with that. But we've seen Xhaka in the Premier League, and we've seen that he's struggled at Arsenal. It's not being a match made in heaven. For Edu to say that it doesn't make sense to sign another player to be on top of them is very worrying, because it says to me that he thinks they're good enough, when clearly we know they're not. He was quite clear that he felt the money needed to be spent on the centre-back position because David Luiz has gone out. Yes, I agree with that. But equally as important, if not more potentially, is our midfield. Our midfield is not good enough. It's lightweight. It's not the envy of any other, I'd say, top 8 Premier League club. You go and look at that list, we are a mile off. And the other thing that annoyed me about him, as I said, from a fan's point of view, what am I looking for? And as I said, I'm not going to go and pick on individual words and like kind of just kick him when he's down. I'm talking about what I wanted to see and what I felt like we didn't get. I wanted to see him say something that I wasn't already aware of. There is no point in coming out and sort of saying such blindingly obvious things that make me think that you think us fans are idiots. He was explaining the project, and what was his explanation? That it's a project where you're signing youth players for the future. You think we don't know this? You think that's not obvious? All we have to do is look at the fact that we signed 6 odd players. 2 of them are 21, 2 of them are 22, 2 of them are 23. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what you're trying to do here. But what concerns me is that you're not owning your track record. On one hand, you're saying we're signing youth players because obviously there's going to be an increase in their career trajectory. There'll be sell-on values. They're going to get better. But tell me, if that's the case, what's happened to Guendouzi? What's happened to Saliba? What's happened to Nketiah? What's happened to Hector Bellerin, for example? All of these players were young at one point, and now all of these players were either about to leave the club or have left the club or they've been exiled. So explain to me why you are sort of naive enough or so unaware that in spite of this track record, and I've just reeled 4 players off, I'm sure other people will be able to reel off more. Runnison, for example. He was a young player, wasn't he? What the hell happened to him? It was an embarrassing signing. So there's 5 players, 5 young players that we could have signed this year if they hadn't already failed. And he would be saying exactly the same thing about them. Just because a player is young does not mean that they are going to go on and on and on to better things. There is clearly something to be said about signing the right players, signing good players. And when I look at their track record, when I look at Edu's track record, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, he mentioned something about fans want to judge one transfer window. So let's go back. Let's go look at the previous transfer window. So previous transfer window, signed Thomas Partey. I'm happy with that signing, but he's still got a lot to prove. Gabriel, again, happy, still got a lot to prove. Pablo Mari, awful. Odegaard on loan, I thought he was okay. I'll give him that one. Runnison, awful. Cedric Suarez, awful. Willian, one of the worst transfers that I've ever seen at Arsenal, even though he was a free. Matthew Ryan, where is he now? But fine, he did okay. And then, they're the key ones, basically. Now, so he's saying that fans only want to judge one transfer window. What about judging the previous transfer window? And that's not his first transfer window. He came in July 19, if I'm not mistaken. And even then, in that transfer window, we signed Saliba, for example. Well, where is he now? We are not judging one transfer window. And also, we're not judging just you. We're judging going back so many years. Misuse of Arsenal's funds. I'm sorry, but there have been so many signings that simply have not worked. And with the whole youth project thing, he's come out and told us nothing we do not know. And that is my frustration. You are the technical director. Surely you can tell us something beyond what is abundantly, blindingly obvious. So those are my frustrations with the interview. I feel like it was very, very poor. And I was happy with the fact that Jeff Shreves asked him about his own job coming under criticism and the fact that he hasn't done this job in Europe before. He then went on to say he respects all the pressure. He said so many times, I understand and I respect and this and that. In fact, he said, I respect all the pressure. I came in from Corinthians and then the Brazil national team where there was unbelievable pressure just as here. He did not address the point that he has not done this job in Europe before. That was the direct question that Jeff Shreves asked him. And clearly, he didn't have an answer for that because he just deflected to Corinthians and Brazil. So again, that question is unanswered. And then he said, I understand the fans. I understand the reason and I accept that, but we will need a bit of time to do what we plan to do. Look, obviously they need time. Obviously, because we're 20th in the league and the time they have had to date, they have not delivered. So of course they need more time. But my point is, why would we feel like they deserve more time? That for me is the key takeaway question. When I asked the first question about what was he trying to achieve, why is it that there would have been that consensus between him, the Kroenke, Vinay, Arteta, that he comes out and does this? One of the key reasons that a lot of you guys said, and that I thought as well, was time. He wants a bit of unity, he wants a bit of togetherness, and he wants a bit of time. What did he say in that interview? And this is where I'm going to hand over to you guys, right, in the comments. What did Edu say in that interview that suggests that they are deserving of more time? Because I feel like I'm at the stage now where they are such inexperienced practitioners of their roles that I feel like time spent with them now is time wasted. That's where I'm at. I don't have faith in them to be able to do what they need to do. And this project of youth, it was very obvious. He didn't need to come out and do an interview to tell us that. And clearly he's got a bad track record with a lot of youth players already that are no longer in and around the club. So he's talking about this foundation, whilst actually what a better project is a better sprinkling of experienced players with young players. Because previously when Arsenal brought in young players, they would look around and they'd see great players around them. Now, when I see the young players in this team, I'm looking at those young players to deliver the 3 points on any given match day. That is not the optimum solution. So guys, listen, I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm going to take a few comments, but what I want you all to do, there's about 500 people watching. Smash the like button. I know I say this every time, but it seems like people forget that you're obviously listening to what I'm saying, and you kind of forget to smash that like button, but please do that. If you care about the channel, if you want the channel to grow, and if you've enjoyed what I've said so far about Edu's interview, I want you to just repay that favor and hit the like button. We're under 200 likes, man. Get it up to 300, please. Keep smashing it because that's what helps the channel grow. I appreciate that. I think we're just about to tick over 200. And now, whilst you're hitting the like button, I'm going to take some of your comments as well. I'll make sure I don't miss any super chats, but I'm going to try and get through a lot of the comments. There's so many, so it's hard for me to get everyone's. All right, so Mo Master 4, he basically talked about their inexperience, so he needs time. Yeah, exactly that. In a way, he's exposing his own lack of experience because Jeff Shreves used the term oven ready in what he was talking about with the players. Now, if I was part of that interview, if that was like the three of us talking, I'd be saying, well, Jeff, I want oven ready backroom staff as well. I want an oven ready manager. I want an oven ready technical director. I want an oven ready CEO. And we haven't got oven ready anywhere. So this is what I see with this team, with this club. It's an inexperienced staff, where Edu is situated, and Arteta and Vinay and Josh Kroenke, and then also inexperienced players. And for me, we really, really massively miss that experience. So a few more comments. Let me see. Arsenal can't time keep or plan or set clear targets. Well, yeah, he refused. He refused to set clear targets. That was a point of real frustration to me. By the refusal of setting targets, what he's doing is refusing to be held to any account, and that was the most worrying thing because it showed a complete lack of confidence in the project. So under 23 squad, under 23 experience level board and management, exactly that. That's my biggest concern here. It's all vague PR speak, nothing of substance, just lowered expectations. Absolutely, yeah. Am I more enthused? Do I have higher expectations as a result of his interview or lower? I have lower expectations because when a man who actually, I can't do anything to help the team, right? But he can. When a man who's actually on the inside is refusing to even put his name against a target, then I do think to myself, boy, that is very worrying. Where do I see Arsenal finishing this season? Nameer Ahmed Khan, thanks a lot for your question. I think best case 7th, and worst case, I'd say 12th. Realistically, I'd say anywhere between 8th and 10th is what I expect. Mediocrity has no value. We say that, man, but people are getting very well paid out of mediocrity. Everything that Edu said, there was no real sense of ambition. And look, he would have learned, and he would have been wise to be stung by the sting of Ivan Gazidis's plan/promise about competing with Bayern Munich. So I guess that he doesn't want to say too much. But what I wanted to see as a fan was him to say, if I don't achieve this, the project has failed this year. Give us something to measure your performance by. That is what I wanted to see. And, that's bravery. That's what I expect when you're in a top job. If it means that you have to vacate your position, so be it. Vacate the position. But give me some bravery and something to hold you to account. Because, as I always say about his role, it's a hidden role. So it's very easy to do sort of like a cowardly job back there without having yourself exposed to the world. So that Norwich game has massive implications for our season. My God, I can't believe how big of a game it is. It's the bottom of the table clash. Norwich, Burnley. If we don't get 6 points, then that Tottenham game is a must win. And if we don't win it, it's going to be toxic as hell. Really, honestly, man, if we don't get, let's say, 7 out of 9, then it's going to stink. The only way I can see us getting less than 7 out of 9 and Arteta surviving is if we go and win one of the 2 games, Norwich, Burnley, and then go and beat Tottenham. So let's, because even if we beat Norwich and Burnley, they're expected games that we should win. If we then go and lose to Tottenham, that's not good enough. So the only way we can get less than 7 points is if it's 6 points and it's a Tottenham win, obviously. Right, okay. He was satisfied by Willian's one performance versus Fulham and kept him longer than they should have. My God, you know what? That really, really frustrated me. The fact that he had the audacity when speaking about Willian to reference one game. I mean, come on. How stupid is this? If any fan said to me, Oleg Luzhny was a great Arsenal player and then reference one game that he played where he played well, or John Jensen was a good goal scorer for Arsenal because I remember that game he scored a goal in. I mean, this stuff is insulting to the intelligence of Arsenal fans. It really is. But I did say that I would give some credit to Edu. Just going to share that. And that is because he didn't have to do this. And at least he tried to open up the channels of communication with the fans. So purely on that basis, I will give him a small amount of credit. But what I would say, honestly, if Edu called me up and said, Mo, what do you think of the interview? I'd be saying to him, listen, I wouldn't recommend you do them in future, because I don't think you've done yourself any favors. And now moving on to the final part of this conversation, what did he achieve? What did he get out of this? Did he enhance his reputation? Did he bridge a gap between fans and the club? Did he sort of enthuse us, give us any room for hope or optimism? I struggle to understand what he achieved by doing this interview other than inviting criticism upon himself. So please tell me whether you think that he achieved anything out of this, because I really, really don't think that he did. And as I say, he's banking on a win in the Norwich game. I'm telling you that he would not have done this if he thought we were going to lose the next game. Listen, I'm not going to take up too much more time. Maurice Fowler, would you ever consider a collaboration with Lee Gunner? He spoke highly of you in the past. You know, this is such a difficult one for me. Lee is, I was on a Twitter space, and I was talking to Lee just the other day, actually. But, you know, the thing is with Lee, I find him, he can be quite hard to digest, you know, and I'm not going to cuss him. I'm not going to send for him or anything silly like that. I'd like to conduct myself with a bit more maturity than that. He knows he's quite Marmite, and often he'll say things and I'll think to myself, actually, I agree with the sentiment of what you're saying, but I don't agree with how you're saying it. Or I get the impression there's zero reluctance in some of the things that he's saying. And that's his style. I find it quite jarring, but I wouldn't rule it out. You guys, you let me know. Would you like to see me talk to Lee Gunner? Is that something you guys would like to see? Because honestly, and I've even said this to Lee in the past, that his style makes it hard for me to want to work with him. But I've got no animosity to the guy. I'm very much of the opinion that, listen, if you don't like him, just don't watch him. There's no point dishing out abuse to people. So let me see. Will you be going back to FTV if all issues are resolved with Robbie? I think it's untenable. I don't think that the issues could be resolved. It'd have to take a hell of a lot of humility on Robbie's part to resolve all the issues, and I don't think that's ever realistic. So I'm going to leave that. I'd love a Lee Mo collab. That would be sick. Well, listen, man. Let's see. Most give it a go with Lee. Someone saying, I don't know, man. Look, I will see. I'll consider it. Look, put it that way. I'll consider it, and I'd like to say something. You know, the thing is about Lee and me, I think. Look, I'm just going to say this, right? And I hope Lee won't take this badly. I don't think he takes a huge effort to conduct himself with respect, for example. And I think that I think it'd be fair to say that I take more effort to conduct myself with a bit more respect. I don't, he admitted on a stream the other day, he did a similar sort of thing like this, talking about Edu, called him a bastard multiple times. To the extent he was saying he thinks his video is going to get demonetized. I haven't used a sort of insulting word to Edu once in all of this, right? So we carry ourselves very differently, but when we kind of liaise with one another, when we interact with one another, we keep it very respectful. So I think we could, but we'll see. Maybe one day it will happen. Me and Hugh Wizzy is a better collab fit. Yeah, listen, I like Hugh Wizzy. I'd happily work with him, and in fact, I am actually talking to him about doing an interview with him. So if you want to see that happen as well, then let me know, let Hugh Wizzy know, and that will just give us that sort of push that we need to make it happen. Okay, who are we talking about? Lee Judge or Lee Gunner? Talking about Lee Gunner. So yeah, talking about Lee Gunner there. Now wait, I think I might have missed the super chat, so I need to just go up there. All right, Arsenal should have signed Basuma, Aouar, Sabitzer. Can you imagine? Perhaps that might have been a bit too much all in the midfield. We need to spread our money a little bit more. But Basuma, I would have loved to have got him. And for me, with Ramsdale, nothing against Ramsdale, I would have liked to have seen that with an obligation to buy, to free up funds, to add those oven-ready players, as Jeff Shreves really, really well, really put it quite well. So, yeah. Now, someone else saying Wizzy's up Mosley, that's a good shout. Yeah, I'd happily. Maybe I need to do some late night fraudulence with Hugh Wizzy. Collab with Turkish again. Get him on your channel. Listen, last year I was collaborating with Turkish on his channel, and I always used to say to him, I really enjoyed talking to Turkish. I respect the fact that Turkish has kept up that pressure on the owners for years and years and years. Even when I kind of thought to myself, we're not going to get him out, I almost gave up, and he maintained it, and I really respect that. So I'm going to get in touch with Turkish. I'd happily do something with Turkish because, I've got a lot of time for him and I like him. So, the other thing as well, if you want to see me speak at length more, because obviously, on my channel, I do my post-match reactions, but every Monday I do the Arsenal Lounge with Shaheen and Lev. They're a couple of great guys as well. So every Monday at 8 p.m., you can always catch what I've got to say, talking about the weekend's game. And, you can always catch me there. Thank you very much. Listen, I always try, even with this, I hope that I've tried to be fair to Arteta, to try and put myself in his shoes, Edu, not Arteta. Try and put myself in his shoes, try and understand why he did it, what his objectives might have been, what my objectives are as a fan, and whether those objectives match up and whether he achieved them. I'm not trying to go through a transcript and cuss him and kick him for every single thing. Trying to be fair to the guy, but unfortunately, I just don't think that he has covered himself in glory. Get on Lee Gunner's channel, mate. Listen, it seems like majority of you are saying, yeah, do it. Appreciate that, Imran. Thank you very much. Oh, look at that latte firm showing some love. This is another YouTube channel that if you haven't seen, you need to check out. I was saying to FK actually about his YouTube channel that what he does and what I do, if you put them together, you've got an elite YouTube channel, because I do the post-match reactions and do stuff like this. But he brings you analysis of players. He really, really takes an effort, gives you stats and figures and charts, and the whole works, man. Every time you watch one of his breakdowns, it's an education. So I recommend you go and check his channel out. All right, listen, I am going to call it a night for this. And listen, thank you so much, Ding Dong. Appreciate that. And contingency plan should be put in place for Spurs game. Yep, I hope so, man. Listen, I hope Conte is being secretly ushered in, or Gasperini or Ten Hag is secretly being ushered in to watch the games in the stadium as a contingency. But listen, in all honesty, I don't think Arsenal are going to be doing that. But yes, I would like there to be a conversation behind the scenes, because I think it's quite inevitable what's going to happen with Arteta now. Right, listen, before I go, my humble request of all of you guys, hit the likes button. 600 people watching, 350 likes. I'd love to see it go over that 500 mark. I'm going to take a few more minutes of questions, right? Oh, hold on a second. A goat has just popped in. Tao Whiteser. Hi, Mo. Lovely to see you live. Tao, I miss you, my brother. I miss you, man. I really hope you're well. It has been way too long. I've often thought I'd love to bump into you. We live in the same hometown. I'd love to bump into you. It'd be great if I catch up with you one day. And I really, really hope you, your lovely wife and kids are all well, and I hope everything is good with you, man. So, listen, please keep on hitting those likes, and yeah, that will help me with the channel. Now, appreciate that. These artworks, I love them too. They're from a place called Shahkar, Shahkar. Google them. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Now, all right, listen, guys. Any more comments? Otherwise, I'm going to duck out of here. 382 likes, 1 dislike. Who was that? That was probably UFK, wasn't it? Only kidding. Yeah, get me up to 400, please. I'm not going to wait till 500. 400, and then that's it. Conte is not coming. Fabrizio confirmed. Yeah, well, fair enough. I can understand that, because I don't think we'd give Conte the war chest that he would want. Forget about Lee Gunner. He's a lowlife. There you go. He polarizes people. He splits opinion. But who knows, man? Would you ever talk with Goldbridge for a collab? I mean, look, it depends. It all depends what his motive would be. If it's just to kind of like try and take the mick out of Arsenal, then no. But, if he wants to have a proper chat, then absolutely, yeah. What do I think about Bellerin loaned to Betis? I'm praying that he doesn't just get loaned out and then that's it. We never see him again, because I love Hector Bellerin. I don't think he hit the heights he should have on the pitch, but I love him, and I think that he's a brilliant, brilliant person off the pitch, and I was proud that he represented my club. I would love for him to return and go back to what I call short hair Bellerin levels, because I thought he was fantastic when he first came out. All right, listen, thank you so much. I'm now going to head out. Hit that like button. Thank you so much, Jameer. Appreciate that. Expressions. Yeah, anytime, man. More than happy. Listen, I will never say no to talking to a Tottenham fan because it's the easiest job in the world. What the hell can they possibly say to us? So that's that. Listen, I'm out now. This one I want to answer. Have I bought any of your new kits? No. Only time I'm going to buy a kit is if it's not being sold by the club, or as in not even the club manufacturer. So I've heard a rumor of a concept kit, but that's the sort of thing that I would buy. But I'm not buying any of the Arsenal kits, not until the Cronkies go. And it's tough because that third kit, I love it, but I'm just not buying it. I'm still friends with a lot of the AFTV guys. I'm not going to go into specifics or whatever, but Turkish is absolutely my guy. I saw Cecil, lovely guy, got nothing nasty or negative to say about any of them. So I'm not gonna get into that. And yes, we forgot to talk about this Brazil Argentina. It is mad. I don't know if you guys know what has happened there, but they kicked off. Messi's on the pitch, Neymar's on the pitch. They are playing. 11 minutes in, the game stops because there's stuff going on the touchline, and it wasn't Brazil staff or Argentina staff. Apparently what has happened is that a few hours before kickoff, the Brazil health organizations have basically said that 4 Argentina players who had spent time in the UK, so 2 of them were Tottenham players, Emilio Martinez was another one, basically because they had spent time in the UK in the last 14 days, they shouldn't have been in Brazil. So they were trying to deport them. I don't know how the game started, but they were kicking up a fuss and trying to deport them mid-game. Absolutely mental. A deportation based on health grounds. Crazy. So the game just got abandoned. Absolutely mad. I can't believe I just can't believe that happened. This is Brazil, Argentina. There's no bigger fixture in South America. And boy, listen, it must be the Arsenal hierarchy managing South American football, because what a joke. All right, listen, that is it. I keep on trying to go and you keep on sucking me in with questions. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. 600 people watching, 430 likes. That's a good ratio. I like that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Afghanistan? Last question. I said to everyone when I set up my YouTube channel that it's not just going to be football. Football's a game of 2 halves, and so is my YouTube channel. It's going to have 2 halves. And I'm going to try and tackle some important subjects as well. So there'll be a video coming out on Afghanistan soon. Okay, so keep an eye out for that. If you don't want to watch it, that's absolutely fine. If you're here for the football content, that's absolutely fine. But if you think to yourself, do you know what, I'll give it a go. It's an amazing story. I've got someone on who traveled from Afghanistan across Europe, got arrested in multiple different countries when he was 12 years old. He saw people die when he was 12 years old on a boat of 120 people, and the boat should have been only for 30 people. Incredible person, incredible story. So if you do want to check it out, when that drops, please do check it out. Okay, that will happen. Take care, everyone. See you later. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really, really appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone that hit the like button as well. Take care. Peace out.